First contact. The gleaming corridors of Starbase Harmony hummed with an electric anticipation. Zara Mitchell, Earth's appointed diplomat to the Galactic Council, strode purposefully towards the Grand Assembly Hall. Her heartbeat quickened with each step, knowing that today's meeting could change humanity's standing in the cosmos forever. As the only human aboard the massive space station, Zora had grown accustomed to the curious stares and whispered conversations that followed in her wake. The aliens' fascination was understandable. After all, humans were the newest addition to the galactic community, and their homeworld was unlike anything the other species had encountered before. The doors to the assembly hall slid open silently, revealing a vast chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. Towering crystalline beings stood beside stocky, fur-covered creatures. Gaseous entities swirled in containment fields next to reptilian humanoids. The diversity was breathtaking, a testament to the incredible variety of life that had evolved on countless worlds. As Zara took her seat, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of pride. Humanity had come so far in such a short time, breaking free from the chains of their deadly homeworld to reach for the stars. Yet that very world that had forged them into the resilient species, they were now threatened to become their greatest obstacle in gaining acceptance among the galactic community. The Arbiter, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, called the assembly to order. Esteemed representatives, the Arbiter's melodious voice rang out, "We have gathered here today to address the petition put forth by the human delegation regarding their status within the Galactic Council." Zara stood, her voice clear and strong as she addressed the assembly. "Honored members of the Council, I come before you today to make a case for humanity's full membership. We may be newcomers to the galactic stage, but we bring with us strengths and perspectives that could greatly benefit our shared community." A low murmur rippled through the chamber. Zara could sense the mixture of curiosity and skepticism emanating from the alien representatives. She pressed on, undeterred. "Our homeworld, Earth, has been classified as a death world by your standards. It's true that to many of you, the conditions on our planet would seem harsh, even impossible. But it is precisely these conditions that have shaped us into the species we are today." The Arbiter's brow furrowed slightly. "Diplomat Mitchell, we have reviewed the data on your world. The extreme temperature variations, the constant tectonic activity, the prevalence of natural disasters. It strains credulity to think that sapient life could not only survive, but thrive in such an environment." Zara nodded, having anticipated this response. "I understand your skepticism, Arbiter. It's difficult to comprehend without experiencing it firsthand. That's why I propose a demonstration." The assembly hall erupted in a cacophony of voices and translated exclamations. The Arbiter raised a hand for silence. "A demonstration, you say? What exactly do you have in mind, Diplomat Mitchell?" Zara's eyes gleamed with determination. "With the Council's permission, I would like to create a simulated environment that replicates the conditions on Earth. I invite any willing representatives to experience a taste of what it means to live on our world." The proposal sent another wave of excitement and apprehension through the gathered aliens. Some leaned forward, intrigued by the prospect, while others recoiled at the very thought. A gravelly voice cut through the commotion. It belonged to Ambassador Crix, a being composed of living stone from a world of eternal calm. "This is preposterous. Why should we subject ourselves to such unpleasantness? The very idea that a species could evolve intelligence in such chaos is absurd." Zara turned to face the stone ambassador, her voice calm but filled with conviction. "With all due respect, Ambassador Crix, it is precisely because our world is so different from yours that we have so much to offer. The challenges we've faced have driven us to innovate, to adapt, and to persevere in ways you might find surprising." The Arbiter considered for a moment before speaking. "The proposal is unusual, but not without merit. It could provide valuable insight into the human species and their capabilities." The Arbiter turned to address the assembly. "Those in favor of proceeding with Diplomat Mitchell's demonstration, please signify." A tense moment passed as the various representatives communicated their votes through their neural interfaces. Zara held her breath, knowing that everything hinged on this moment. Finally, the arbiter spoke again. The motion carries. Diplomat Mitchell, you have the Council's permission to proceed with your demonstration. You will be granted access to our holographic simulation chambers. You have 3 standard rotations to prepare your experience. Zara bowed deeply, relief and excitement coursing through her. Thank you, Arbiter. Thank you, esteemed representatives. I assure you, what you're about to witness will change your perception of humanity forever. As the assembly adjourned, Zara's mind raced with possibilities. She had opened the door, but the real challenge lay ahead. How could she possibly convey the full scope of Earth's fury and beauty in a way these aliens could understand? How could she make them feel the terror of a hurricane, the awe of a volcanic eruption, the bone-chilling cold of an Arctic blizzard? More importantly, how could she show them that it was these very challenges that had forged humanity into a species worthy of standing alongside the greatest civilizations in the galaxy? As she left the assembly hall, Zora's determination burned brighter than ever. She had 3 rotations to change the course of human history. 3 rotations to prove that the children of Earth deserved their place among the stars. The next 3 rotations would be crucial, and Zara knew she couldn't waste a single moment. She immediately set to work, collaborating with the station's advanced AI, to design the most realistic and impactful simulation possible. As the first rotation came to an end, Zara stood in the empty holographic chamber, surrounded by the ghostly outlines of Earth's most extreme environments. She smiled to herself, knowing that tomorrow these alien diplomats would get their first taste of what it truly meant to be human. The stage was set. The challenge issued. Now it was time to show the galaxy what the children of Earth were made of. The simulation. The second rotation dawned on Starbase Harmony, bringing with it a palpable tension. Word of the human demonstration had spread quickly, and curiosity had overcome initial skepticism for many of the alien representatives. As Zara made her final preparations in the holographic chamber, a small crowd had already gathered outside. The Arbiter arrived, flanked by a diverse group of alien diplomats who had volunteered to participate in the simulation. Among them was Ambassador Crix, his stony features set in a mask of disdain, and Lorella, a graceful avian being whose feathers shimmered with iridescent hues. Diplomat Mitchell, the Arbiter intoned, "We are ready to proceed with your demonstration. I trust you have taken all necessary precautions to ensure the safety of the participants." Zara nodded solemnly. "Absolutely, Arbiter. While the simulation will feel incredibly real, I assure you that no lasting physical harm will come to anyone. However, I must warn you all that the experience may be intense." With a wave of her hand, Zora activated the holographic systems. The stark, metallic walls of the chamber shimmered and faded, replaced by a vast, open plain beneath an azure sky. A gentle breeze carried the scent of grass and wildflowers. "This," Zora explained, "is Earth at its most benign, a temperate grassland on a calm spring day. But as you'll soon see, our world is anything but predictable." The alien diplomats marveled at the realistic simulation, some reaching out to touch the holographic grass, expressions of wonder on their faces. Even Ambassador Crix seemed impressed, despite his earlier skepticism. Suddenly, the sky darkened. Ominous clouds rolled in, blotting out the sun. A low rumble of thunder in the distance caused several of the aliens to flinch. "A storm approaches," Zara warned. "On Earth, weather can change rapidly and violently." As if on cue, a blinding flash of lightning split the sky, followed by a deafening crack of thunder. Rain began to pour down in sheets, drenching the simulated landscape and the bewildered diplomats. Lorella, the avian being, let out a distressed chirp. "This moisture, it's everywhere. How do you endure such conditions?" Zara smiled grimly. "This is just the beginning, Ambassador Lorella. On Earth, we learn to adapt or perish." The wind picked up, howling with increasing fury. In the distance, a dark, funnel-shaped cloud began to form, descending from the turbulent sky. Tornado! Zara shouted over the roar of the wind, one of Earth's most destructive forces. The diplomats watched in horror as the simulated tornado tore across the landscape, uprooting trees and hurling debris through the air. The raw power of Earth's atmosphere left them speechless. As the storm subsided, Zara transitioned the simulation to a new environment. The diplomats found themselves standing on a beach, waves lapping gently at their feet. The peaceful scene was short-lived, however, as the ground beneath them began to tremble. Earthquake, Zara explained calmly as the aliens struggled to maintain their balance. Our planet's crust is constantly shifting, releasing enormous amounts of energy. The shaking intensified, and in the distance, a massive wave began to form. Tsunami incoming, Zara warned. In coastal regions, earthquakes can trigger devastating waves capable of destroying entire cities. The wall of water rushed towards them, growing to impossible heights. Just before impact, Zara froze the simulation, leaving the aliens staring up at the towering wave, frozen in a moment of terrifying beauty. This, Zara said quietly, is the power our world can unleash in an instant. She transitioned the simulation once more, this time to the base of an active volcano. The ground rumbled ominously, and plumes of ash and smoke billowed from the crater. Volcanic eruptions, Zara continued, can alter our climate on a global scale. The ash and gases released can block out the sun, leading to years of cooling and crop failures. As if on cue, the volcano erupted spectacularly, spewing lava and pyroclastic flows down its slopes. The alien diplomats huddled together, overwhelmed by the raw destructive power on display. Throughout the demonstration, Zara cycled through Earth's most extreme environments: the searing heat of the Sahara Desert, the bone-chilling cold of the Antarctic, the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench, and the oxygen-thin peaks of the Himalayas. With each new scenario, the alien representatives grew more astonished, and in some cases, more terrified. They experienced simulations of hurricanes, flash floods, wildfires, and even a meteor impact reminiscent of the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. As the final simulation faded away, returning them to the sterile holographic chamber, a heavy silence fell over the group. The aliens looked shaken, their earlier skepticism replaced by a mix of awe and disbelief. Ambassador Crix was the first to speak, his gravelly voice subdued. "Diplomat Mitchell, I owe you an apology. I had no idea. How does your species survive in such a world, let alone thrive?" Zara's expression was solemn but proud. "We adapt, Ambassador. We innovate. We persevere. Every challenge Earth throws at us makes us stronger, more resilient. We've learned to predict these events, to build structures that can withstand them, to develop technologies that allow us to survive in even the harshest conditions." The Arbiter stepped forward, its iridescent skin shimmering with a mix of colors that Zara had come to recognize as indicating deep thought. "Diplomat Mitchell, your demonstration has been illuminating. I believe I speak for all present when I say that our understanding of humanity has been profoundly altered." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. Lyrella, her feathers still ruffled from the simulated experiences, chirped softly, "To think, we once believed our worlds to be challenging. Compared to Earth, they seem like paradise." Zara nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "And yet, despite all this, we love our world fiercely. Its challenges have shaped us, driven us to reach for the stars. The same determination that allowed us to survive on Earth now propels us into the galaxy." The Arbiter's colors shifted again, this time to a hue that Zara associated with decision-making. "Diplomat Mitchell, I believe the Council will need to reconsider its stance on humanity's petition. Your species clearly possesses qualities that could be of great value to the galactic community." As the group filed out of the holographic chamber, still discussing what they had experienced, Zora allowed herself a moment of quiet satisfaction. She had opened their eyes to the reality of Earth, and in doing so, had taken the first step towards changing humanity's place in the cosmos. But as she watched the alien diplomats leave, a new worry began to gnaw at her. She had shown them the power and fury of Earth, but would they now see humans as too dangerous to be trusted? Had she inadvertently painted her own species as the products of a nightmarish world, too alien and too powerful to be accepted? Zara squared her shoulders, pushing the doubt aside. She had done what was necessary. Now she had to trust that the Galactic Council would see the potential in humanity, not just the danger. The real work was just beginning. As she left the chamber, Zara's mind was already racing with plans for the next phase of her diplomatic mission. She had shown them Earth's fury. Now it was time to show them humanity's heart. The threat. The days following the Earth simulation were a whirlwind of activity aboard Starbase Harmony. Zara found herself at the center of a storm of curiosity, fielding countless questions from alien diplomats eager to learn more about humanity and their extraordinary homeworld. The atmosphere had shifted dramatically. Where once there had been skepticism and dismissal, now there was genuine interest, and in some cases, a hint of fear. Zara was in the middle of a discussion with a group of diplomats about Earth's tectonic activity when an urgent message flashed across her neural interface. The Arbiter was calling an emergency session of the Galactic Council. All representatives were to report to the Grand Assembly Hall immediately. As Zara hurried through the corridors, her mind raced with possibilities. Had the Council reached a decision about humanity's petition? Or was this something else entirely? The Assembly Hall was a cacophony of worried voices and frantic movements when Zara arrived. The Arbiter stood at the center, its iridescent skin pulsing with colors that Zara had never. The Assembly Hall was a cacophony of worried voices and frantic movements when Zara arrived. The Arbiter stood at the center, its iridescent skin pulsing with colors that Zara had never seen before, deep purples and reds that seemed to signify extreme distress. "Silence, please," the Arbiter's voice cut through the din, and a hush fell over the gathered representatives. "We face a crisis unlike any in recent galactic history." A holographic display flickered to life above the Arbiter, showing a massive stellar phenomenon that Zara didn't recognize. It looked like a tear in the fabric of space itself, pulsing with ominous energy. "This," the Arbiter continued, "is what our scientists are calling a cosmic rift. It appeared on the edge of the Andromeda Galaxy 3 rotations ago and has been growing at an alarming rate. Our projections indicate that if left unchecked, it could destabilize entire star systems, potentially threatening a significant portion of our galaxy within the next solar cycle." Gasps and cries of alarm echoed through the chamber. Zara felt her heart racing. She had come here to argue for humanity's place in the galactic community, but now faced with a threat of this magnitude, such concerns seemed trivial. Ambassador Crix's gravelly voice rose above the commotion. "What do we know about this phenomenon? Can it be stopped?" The Arbiter's colors shifted to a somber blue. "Our understanding is limited. The rift appears to be a rupture in space-time, releasing enormous amounts of energy. As for stopping it," the Arbiter paused, its voice heavy with concern. "Our greatest scientific minds are at a loss. The energies involved are beyond anything we've encountered before." Zara found herself speaking before she even realized it. "What about containment? If we can't stop it, can we at least slow its growth or mitigate its effects?" All eyes in the chamber turned to her. The Arbiter regarded her with a mixture of surprise and interest. "An intriguing suggestion, Diplomat Mitchell. But I'm not sure how we would even begin to approach such a task." Zara's mind was racing, drawing on humanity's long history of facing seemingly insurmountable challenges. On Earth, we've developed technologies to contain some of our planet's most destructive forces, levees to hold back floodwaters, reinforced structures to withstand earthquakes, even methods to redirect the flow of lava from volcanoes. Perhaps some of these principles could be applied on a cosmic scale. A murmur of interest rippled through the assembly. The Arbiter's colors shifted to a more hopeful shade. An interesting proposition. But the scale of this threat is beyond anything your species has faced. How could Earth's technologies possibly apply? Zara stood tall, her voice firm with conviction. The principles remain the same, Arbiter. It's about understanding the forces at work and finding ways to redirect or absorb their energy. We may not have faced a cosmic rift before, but humans have a long history of adapting our technologies to new challenges. Lyrella, the avian diplomat, chirped in agreement. After witnessing the simulation of Earth's conditions, I believe the human perspective could be valuable. They have experience dealing with chaos and unpredictability on a scale most of us can hardly imagine. The Arbiter considered for a moment, its colors swirling in deep thought. Very well, Diplomat Mitchell. I'm assigning you to the task force we're assembling to address this crisis. Your unique perspective may prove useful. As the meeting adjourned and the diplomats filed out, many still discussing the shocking news in hushed tones, Zara felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. She had come here to prove humanity's worth to the galactic community. Now she had the chance to do exactly that, but with the fate of countless worlds hanging in the balance. Over the next several rotations, Zara found herself working alongside the brightest scientific minds from across the galaxy. The task force had commandeered an entire section of Starbase Harmony, filling it with holographic displays, complex simulations, and prototype devices aimed at understanding and combating the cosmic rift. Zara brought the full weight of human ingenuity to bear on the problem. She introduced concepts that were second nature to humans, but revolutionary to many of her alien colleagues, ideas like redundancy in systems, fail-safes, and the importance of planning for worst-case scenarios. We need to approach this like we would a natural disaster on Earth, Zora explained to the team one day, gesturing at a holographic model of the rift. We can't just focus on stopping it. We need to prepare for the possibility that it might reach populated systems. Evacuation protocols, hardened shelters, methods of surviving in space-time disrupted environments. These are all things we need to consider. Her ideas were met with a mixture of fascination and skepticism. Some of the alien scientists struggled to grasp the concept of planning for failure, coming from worlds where such catastrophic events were unheard of. But as the days wore on, and their conventional approaches continued to fall short, more and more of them began to see the value in Zara's Earth thinking. It was during one late-night session, as Zara was explaining the concept of using controlled explosions to redirect the flow of lava, that inspiration struck. What if, she mused, her eyes lighting up with excitement, we could do the same thing with the rift? Not explosions, exactly, but controlled energy releases to guide its growth away from populated areas. The idea sparked a flurry of activity. Over the next few rotations, the team worked tirelessly to develop a network of energy projection satellites that could, in theory, create a sort of cosmic levee system around the rift. As the plan took shape, Zara couldn't help but feel a swelling of pride. Here she was, a representative of the newest, most doubted species in the galaxy, helping to spearhead a solution to save it. But mixed with that pride was a gnawing worry. The plan was risky, untested on such a scale. If it failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. The day came when the Arbiter called the Galactic Council back into session to hear the task force's proposal. As Zara stood before the assembled representatives, preparing to present their plan, she felt the full weight of not just humanity's future, but the future of countless alien worlds resting on her shoulders. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. This was what humans did best, facing the impossible, adapting, overcoming. Whatever the outcome, she would show the galaxy the true strength of Earth's children. Esteemed members of the Council, Zara began, her voice clear and strong. We face an unprecedented threat, but I stand before you today with a plan born from the harsh lessons of Earth and the brilliant minds of our galactic community. Together, we will meet this challenge. Together, we will save our worlds." As she launched into the details of the proposal, Zora could see the mix of hope and fear in the eyes of the assembled diplomats. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and humanity's moment of truth had arrived. Humanity's stand. The tension in the Grand Assembly Hall was palpable as Zora concluded her presentation. The holographic displays flickered with images of the proposed cosmic levee system, a vast network of energy-projecting satellites that would work in concert to contain and redirect the growth of the rift. As the last image faded, a heavy silence fell over the gathered representatives. The Arbiter, its skin shifting through a kaleidoscope of colors, was the first to speak. "Diplomat Mitchell, your proposal is unprecedented. The scale of this operation, the risks involved, they are beyond anything the Galactic Council has ever attempted." Zara nodded, her posture resolute. "I understand, Arbiter, but unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. We've run countless simulations, and while I won't claim the plan is without risk, we believe it offers our best chance of averting catastrophe." Ambassador Crick's stony features were set in a deep frown. "And what if it fails? What if instead of containing this rift, we inadvertently accelerate its growth? We could be dooming billions." "With all due respect, Ambassador," Zora countered, her voice firm, "if we do nothing, those billions are doomed anyway. Yes, there are risks. But on Earth, we have a saying, fortune favors the bold. Throughout our history, our greatest achievements have come when we dared to attempt the impossible." A ripple of murmurs swept through the assembly. Larella, her feathers shimmering with a nervous energy, spoke up. "I've worked closely with Diplomat Mitchell and the task force. While the plan is audacious, it's also meticulously crafted. The redundancies and fail-safes built into the system are unlike anything I've seen before. It's clear that the humans' experience with their chaotic world has led them to develop a unique approach to problem-solving." The Arbiter's colors settled into a deep, thoughtful blue. "The Council will need time to deliberate on this matter. The stakes are too high for a hasty decision." As the Council adjourned to consider the proposal, Zara found herself in a whirlwind of activity. Word of the plan had spread throughout Starbase Harmony, and she was bombarded with questions, concerns, and offers of support from diplomats and scientists alike. It was during this time that Zara truly began to appreciate the diversity of the galactic community. Species that had evolved on worlds of eternal calm struggled to grasp the concept of controlled chaos that was central to the plan. Others, coming from harsher, though still not Earth-like, environments, found themselves drawn to the human approach. Days passed, feeling like an eternity as the galaxy held its breath. Finally, the Council reconvened. The Arbiter's voice rang out, silencing the murmurs that filled the hall. "After much deliberation, the Galactic Council has reached a decision. While the risks are significant, the potential consequences of inaction are graver still. We hereby authorize the implementation of the Cosmic Levee Project." A collective exhale seemed to sweep through the assembly, followed by a flurry of activity. Zara found herself at the center of a maelstrom of preparation. Ships were dispatched to begin constructing the satellite network. Scientists from 100 worlds collaborated on fine-tuning the energy projection systems. Evacuation protocols were established for the star systems closest to the rift's projected path. Through it all, Zara worked tirelessly, drawing on every ounce of human determination and adaptability. She found herself teaching alien engineers about redundancy and fail-safe mechanisms, concepts that came naturally to those who had grown up on a world where systems regularly failed due to natural disasters. As the weeks passed and the project took shape, Zora couldn't help but notice a shift in how she, and by extension, humanity were perceived. The initial fear and skepticism had given way to a grudging respect, and in some cases, outright admiration. "I must admit," Ambassador Crix rumbled one day as they observed the construction of a particularly crucial component, "I had my doubts about your species. Diplomat Mitchell. But seeing you in action, perhaps being forged in the crucible of a Deathworld, has its advantages. Zara offered a tired smile. We're not so different, Ambassador. Humans, Lithorians, Avestrians, we're all driven by the same fundamental desire to survive, to protect our homes and our loved ones. Earth just taught us to be creative about it. The day of activation arrived all too soon. Zara stood in the control center aboard Starbase Harmony, surrounded by a diverse team of aliens and the few other humans who had made their way to the station since the crisis began. As the final checks were completed and the system powered up, Zara felt a moment of vertigo. Here she was, a representative of a species that had only recently achieved faster-than-light travel, about to play a key role in determining the fate of the galaxy. Energy projection network is online, came the report from one of the technicians. Commencing containment sequence in 3, 2, 1. A brilliant light flooded the view screens as the cosmic levee system roared to life. Streams of energy lanced out across the void, meeting the chaotic energies of the rift in a spectacular display of cosmic forces. For several tense minutes, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly but surely, the erratic growth of the rift began to stabilize. Cheers erupted in the control center as the first readings came in, showing the rift's expansion slowing, then stopping altogether. It's working, Lyrella chirped excitedly. By the cosmic egg, it's actually working. Zara allowed herself a moment of relief, but she knew the battle was far from over. Maintain full power to the containment field, she ordered, and keep those evacuation ships on standby. We're not out of the woods yet. Over the next several days, the galaxy watched with bated breath as the cosmic levee held firm. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the rift began to shrink. It was Ambassador Crix who approached Zora as the crisis finally, officially ended. The rift had collapsed in on itself, leaving behind only a faint ripple in the fabric of space-time. Diplomat Mitchell, the stony being rumbled. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I extend our deepest gratitude. Your species has proven itself beyond any doubt. The petition for humanity's full membership in the Council will be approved unanimously. Zara nodded, a complex mix of emotions washing over her. Thank you, Ambassador. But this wasn't just a human achievement. It was a galactic one. We all played our part. As she looked out at the stars, Zora couldn't help but smile. Humanity had faced its greatest test and emerged victorious. They had proven that the very traits born from Earth's harshness, their adaptability, their creativity, their sheer determination, were not just valuable, but essential to the galactic community. The children of Earth had taken their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as protectors. And the galaxy, Zara knew, would never be the same. A new era. In the cycles that followed the cosmic rift crisis, a profound shift swept through the galactic community. The fear and skepticism that had once greeted humanity's emergence onto the cosmic stage had given way to a newfound respect, and in many cases, outright admiration. Zara found herself at the center of this transformation. As she stood before the Galactic Council once more, it was not to plead humanity's case, but to accept their formal induction as full members. The Arbiter's voice rang out, its tones carrying a warmth that Zara had never heard before. Today, we not only welcome humanity to our ranks, but acknowledge the invaluable perspective they bring. The crisis we faced proved that diversity, not just in biology, but in experience and thought, is our greatest strength. As Zara accepted the ceremonial sash that marked humanity's new status, she couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. From a species isolated on their tempestuous homeworld to key players in galactic affairs, it was a transformation that would have seemed impossible mere cycles ago. But the induction ceremony was just the beginning. In the days and weeks that followed, Zara found herself busier than ever as the galactic community sought to learn from and collaborate with humanity in ways they never had before. One morning, As Zara was reviewing proposals for joint scientific ventures, she received an unexpected visitor. Ambassador Crix lumbered into her office, his crystalline form catching the light. "Diplomat Mitchell," he rumbled, "I hope I'm not interrupting." Zara smiled, gesturing for him to take a seat. "Not at all, Ambassador. What can I do for you?" Crix settled his massive form carefully into the reinforced chair. "I've come with a request, or perhaps a proposal. My people, the Lithorians, have always prided ourselves on our stability. Our world knows no earthquakes, no storms. For eons, we saw this as a strength." He paused, his crystalline features seeming to soften. "But recent events have shown us the value of adaptability. We've come to realize that our very immutability may be a weakness, and so we turn to humanity for guidance." Zara leaned forward, intrigued. "What exactly are you proposing, Ambassador?" "We want to learn from you," Crix said simply. "Not just your technology, but your mindset. The way you approach problems, the way you prepare for the unexpected. We're proposing a cultural exchange program. Lithorian scientists and philosophers living on Earth, and humans coming to our world to teach and advise." Zara felt a surge of pride and excitement. "Ambassador, I think that's a wonderful idea. I'm sure we have as much to learn from your people as you do from us." As Crix left, Zara found herself marveling at how quickly things were changing. It wasn't just the Lithorians. Similar requests were coming in from species across the galaxy. The Avestrians, with their delicate, lighter-than-air physiology, were interested in human architecture designed to withstand high winds. The aquatic Melosians sought advice on dealing with oceanic disasters like tsunamis and hurricanes. But it wasn't all one-sided. Humanity, for all its resilience and adaptability, found much to learn from their new galactic neighbors. The Zinthuri's mastery of psychic shielding techniques proved invaluable in helping humans cope with the psychological stress of disaster situations. The Ilorians' advanced weather manipulation technology opened up new possibilities for mitigating Earth's more extreme climate events. As the cycles passed, Zara watched with pride as humanity's influence spread throughout the galaxy. Earth-inspired resilience centers began appearing on worlds that had never known natural disaster, teaching alien species how to adapt to unexpected challenges. Human literature, with its themes of overcoming adversity, became wildly popular among species that had evolved in far more forgiving environments. But perhaps the most profound change came in the form of a galactic-wide shift in philosophy. The old way of thinking, which prioritized stability and predictability above all else, was giving way to a new ethos that valued adaptability and resilience. "Expect the unexpected" became a common refrain in council meetings and scientific symposiums alike. One day, as Zara was preparing for yet another diplomatic mission, she received an urgent message from Earth. A massive solar flare, far larger than anything in recorded history, was headed directly for their home planet. The message ended with a simple request: "We need the galaxy's help." Without hesitation, Zara convened an emergency session of the Galactic Council. As she stood before the assembled representatives, she couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. But this time, the roles were reversed. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, her voice steady and clear, "Earth faces a crisis that threatens to overwhelm even our considerable defenses against solar radiation. We come before you not as saviors this time, but as a member of this community in need of aid." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Species after species pledged their support, offering technologies, resources, and expertise. The Solari, a species that had evolved on a world orbiting a particularly volatile star, immediately dispatched their most advanced solar shields. The Quasar Nomads, beings of pure energy, volunteered to absorb some of the flare's power, lessening its impact on Earth. As Zara coordinated the massive relief effort from Starbase Harmony, she found herself working alongside many of the same aliens she had first met when arguing for humanity's acceptance. Ambassador Crix, his crystalline form glittering with determination, was overseeing the deployment of energy-dispersing arrays in Earth's upper atmosphere. Lyrella flitted about the command center, her feathers a blur of motion as she relayed communications between the various species involved in the operation. "It's remarkable," she chirped during a rare quiet moment. "Not so long ago, many here questioned whether humanity belonged among us. Now look at how we've all come together to protect your world." Zara nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "It's more than that, Lyrella. We're not just protecting Earth. We're defending the very principles that humanity brought to the galactic community: resilience, adaptability, the strength that comes from facing adversity together." As the solar flare struck, the combined efforts of a united galaxy held firm. Earth's cities glowed beneath the protective shields, its people watching in awe as the sky lit up with the colors of a dozen alien technologies working in harmony. In the aftermath, as the danger passed and the relief efforts wound down, Zara found herself standing before the Galactic Council once more. But this time, it was not to argue or to prove humanity's worth. It was to express gratitude. "On behalf of Earth and all of humanity," she said, her voice thick with emotion, "I thank you. What we witnessed today was more than just an incredible feat of science and cooperation. It was a testament to how far we've come together." The Arbiter, its skin shimmering with colors of deep satisfaction and joy, spoke for the assembled representatives. "No thanks are necessary, Diplomat Mitchell. Today we all stood as one, not as separate species, but as a united galactic community, and we are all stronger for it." As Zara looked out at the sea of alien faces, each one now familiar and dear to her, she realized that humanity had achieved something far greater than mere acceptance. They had sparked a transformation, challenging the very foundations of galactic society and ushering in a new era of resilience, adaptability, and unity. The children of Earth, forged in the crucible of their chaotic homeworld, had not just found their place among the stars. They had helped reshape the very nature of galactic civilization, proving that even in the face of cosmic threats, life would find a way to adapt, to overcome, and to thrive. As she left the council chamber, Zara's steps were light, her heart full. The future stretched out before her, full of challenges and wonders yet unimagined. But whatever lay ahead, she knew that humanity, and the galaxy they now called home, would face it together, stronger and more united than ever before. The Deathworld that had once threatened to keep humanity isolated had, in the end, given them the very qualities needed to bring a fractured galaxy together. And in doing so, the children of Earth had not just survived, they had helped the entire galaxy learn to truly live.